Hi everyone. God just had me go to the store, and for those of you who aren't aware of where I live in Arizona, and right now the temperatures are reaching 110, 115. And if you don't think God will have you outside in the heat, oh yes, He will. Um, so I know I've been away for a while. I've been going through some things. I've been working. I've been doing things for God, going places, uh, praying, fasting. There's been a lot of warfare and a lot of confusion and a lot of clarity and a lot of just different things that have happened over the last month and a half. And He's still revealing things to me. So I know I talked about the dream that I had where my spouse was in it. And it was definitely an incredible dream. And every time I start to doubt, I remember God's words. She belongs to me. She's mine. And I'm like, I belong to God. I belong to Him. No one else. Okay, so today's my day off from work. I have today off and tomorrow off. So I will not see my spouse for 4 days. And that was God's will. Before I left, I asked God, if you want me to say something to him about me being gone for 4 days, let there be an opportunity for that to happen. And so he was clocking out because he was done with his portion of the shift for the day. So he was getting to go home. And God said, he highlighted, he goes, look up. And I was like, oh, he's leaving. So he unctioned me to go talk to him. So I stood next to him and I said, oh, so that's all she wrote? And he goes, yeah, you know how it is. I'm like, yeah, I know. And I said, well, have a great weekend. And he goes, wait, what? And I said, well, I'm off tomorrow and Friday, and you're off on the weekend, so I won't see you until Monday. And he goes, no. And I was like, yeah, so I won't see you for 4 days. And he just kind of stood there. And then, so I left him alone to finish his whatever he was doing. And I've been noticing that the last few days, the last couple of weeks, probably 2-3 weeks, he's been very slow in leaving. You know, I gotta go get water. Oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. Oh, I gotta go over here and talk to the manager and see what's going on for the next day. And, oh, I should look up what my orders are for tomorrow and see what the schedule looks like. And God has been highlighting all of this behavior. And I'm like, why is he doing this, Father? Like, he told me that he wasn't interested. Like, and he goes, yeah, he got scared because you were not doing anything wrong. But remember, we're faster than our spouses are. The women are faster than the men. So we tend to move as we're feeling the vibe. And that is what God is trying to teach us, is that just because we feel the movement doesn't mean we move. We have to wait to be told to move. So that's what I wasn't doing in the beginning. I'm like, but I am patient. And he goes, yeah, but you were going with the flow. You weren't waiting for me, and he wasn't ready. But I used that opportunity to open his eyes to what he was feeling. So then he started to have a heart check. Like, he started to go, wait, what? I've never felt like this before. Why am I feeling like this? So then he thought I was causing these problems within him. Like I was the problem. Maybe because he is a man of God, so he thought maybe I was a bad person. And that's why he was feeling these things. And so God had to reveal to him that, no, these feelings is what you feel when the person is sent by God to be with you. Because in his mind, he was meant to be with this other woman that he's been with for I don't know how long. Could be a childhood sweetheart, I don't know. But this woman and him got into I'll leave you alone if you leave me alone, and we'll stay together because it's convenient. You know, when they got the urge, they would sleep together, but they weren't really together, and they weren't really happy. Now, remember, we each have God's work to do, and he wasn't doing God's work. He was doing it at his will. He's like, I'll be nice today. Not today. I feel like being grumpy. No, I'm not rushing. No, no. And then I show up, and now I'm forcing him to rush. I'm forcing him to, and not forcing him in the sense of, I'm over there going, oh, you need to be faster, you need to be faster. It started as a game. God's like, okay, talk to this customer. And then they're like, hey, if the driver can get here earlier than 45 minutes, there's an extra tip incentive for him. And I'm like, okay, I'll let him know. And so I'd go over there to him and I'd be like, hey, customer just said that if you're Speedy Gonzalez and you get there soon, he'll give you an extra tip. And he's like, seriously? I'm like, yeah. So through me, God was making him do God's work. Because, you know, the incentive was the dangled carrot. God will use whatever he has to use to get you to be on his side. And that I've learned that. It doesn't matter. God can use evil spirits. He can use tarot cards. He can use balloons. He can use clowns. He can use any movie that he feels is necessary to get you to be on his side. Because he knows. He knows what will get us to go, oh, God, please be with me. Please be with me. I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be in the dark. I don't want to be without you. I want to be in the light. So I've learned that I let God do whatever he wants in my life. I'm like, you want me to look like I'm some bum off the street? Go for it. You want me to look like some crazy lady talking out of my butt? Okay, I'll do that too. You want me to just tell people bizarre stories about things that I've gone through? Okay, I'll do that. You want people to think that I'm insensitive because I don't worry about people's emotions? I'll be that too. What is it you need me to be today, Father? I am your willing vessel. I will do as you ask. I will do as you tell me. And when he told my spouse, she does what I say, I was in awe. Because God knows that I will do whatever he asks me to do, regardless of what it makes me look like. If we all remember, John the Baptist looked like a lunatic, wearing sacks of barley and living in the wilderness and eating crap when he was preaching about the coming Jesus, the coming Messiah. And everybody was like, that man is insane. That man cannot be a man of God. That man cannot be doing God's work. That man, don't talk to him. He's just nutty. He's just lunatic. He's just crazy. He's just not of God. Just don't pay him any attention. I'd rather be the lunatic. I'd rather be the crazy person. I'd rather be the one everyone laughs at. I'd rather be an individual who is unique and unlike anyone else. Because that means that I am exactly the kind of person God is using. And not for my glory, but for his. But what makes me happy, what makes me smile as much as I'm smiling, is knowing that I belong to Him. I don't belong to anyone else, just Him. And He owns me. Not like a slave, not like a child that, ran away and now he's having to muffle me or hurt me or put me in my place. But like a loving child that He created and nurtured and raised to be loving and caring and everything He wants us to be. So say what you want. I'll continue to look like a crazy person. Even if nothing has changed. I will continue to stand in the light. I will continue to be God's child. I will continue to shine brightly and let everyone see Him flowing through me, because I have nothing else I don't have to hide anymore. I don't have to pretend that I am not a child of God. Okay, so some developments. As God sent me to the store, and I didn't want to go because it's 110 degrees and I have to walk from my room to the Circle K that He wanted me to go to, because He didn't want me to go to the one that was closer. He wanted me to go to the one that was farther away. And I was like, well, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I'm tired. It's hot. I had all the excuses. And then He goes, go to the store. And the change in tone, I knew. It wasn't because I'm off tomorrow as well. And I was like, well, maybe He's wanting me to go tomorrow. And the urgency was for today, not tomorrow. And I was like, what? So first He had me take a bath before I left. And in the bath, He revealed some things to me. He started having me think about the interactions of the managers with my spouse, with me, over the last few weeks. And so I started thinking, and if you remember, I had told you that there was a problem between me and the manager whose name is Jesus. And Cody had told Jesus that he needed to apologize. I don't know what Cody told him. I just know what Cody told me. I don't know why Jesus was mad and upset with me. Because what I told Cody was, he talked down to me and it felt like this. What he told Jesus, what he tells Will about me, the only person who sees me and my character is my spouse. He's the only one who's there, both shifts, every shift. He's the only one that can defend me. He's the only one that can protect me. And he had an assignment from God to do just that. And I was thinking that this man, Jesus, was the one causing all the situation. And I really thought Cody was the good manager, that he was my favorite manager. Until on Friday, I asked him for spaghetti. Now, I do everything this man asked me to do. If he asks me to stay by myself during a rush, I will. If he asks me to go on break so that he can save labor, I will. If he asks me if I can do dishes, I will. If he asks me to stay after my work is all done and he has sent everyone else home, if he asks me to stay to do dishes, I will. Because God has been leading me to do that. To do those things for him. And I knew there was some type of resistance between him and Will, but I thought it was Will that was being the bad guy. And this is why you don't judge, because you don't know people's hearts. You don't know what's in there. I never treated this man with disrespect. I never treated this man with like I didn't like him. You know, I worked for him and I did my job and we crack jokes and we have fun, and sometimes he gets mad at me and, you know, he puts me in my place and I take it godlike. I don't bow down to him. I don't cower to him. In fact, yesterday there was a situation where a customer called in and asked if we would do butter on the crust. And I said, that's not something we do typically. And I said, but let me check. I had asked Will to talk to a customer who was placing a big order for Friday. And Will got mad because he's like, why can't you do it? You're a counter. And it's like, this is a management opportunity to build a relationship. I am leaving it to you so that you can build the relationship. He didn't see it that way. He will, but he didn't see it that way. So he was already mad at me for having him do this, for taking him away from what he was doing and going and taking this order from this man. So God then sent me to the kitchen where my spouse was. And I looked at the ticket and I looked at my spouse and I was like, so this man wants butter on the crust. What do you think I should do? And he goes, well, I would do it. And I said, but is that something we do? And he goes, no, not typically, but I said, okay, am I going to get in trouble with Will? And he's like, well, yeah. I'm like, okay. If Will asks, I'll just say it was on the ticket and go from there. And so I left. And I told the customer that we would do it this one time, but, that typically we don't do this. Will came back to the back and he saw the ticket. Ben hadn't finished. And he calls me up. He goes, D. I'm like, yeah? He said, was this the customer on the phone? Yeah? And he goes, and was he asking if we were going to put the garlic butter on the crust? And I said, yes. And what did you say? I said, we don't typically do this, but we'll do it this one time. And he goes, we're not Hungry Howies. We don't do that. And I was like, understood. While he was asking me these questions, and he was not being very nice about it, he was being mean. While he was asking me these questions, Ben kind of leaned over and said, and because I did not say a word, I didn't say, oh, well, Ben said I could do it, and, so I did it. I just let it be that I was the one that made the decision, because ultimately it was my decision. I could have told him, no, you know what, if this is something that's going to get me in trouble, we're not going to do this. But it was a delivery order. And I knew that if he did this, there was the potential that they would tip him bigger, because he would explain that we got in trouble for doing something the customer wanted. And that was God. God was testing me to see if I would be honest, because we had just fired an employee for being untruthful, for being a liar. And so Will asking me these questions and me answering not honestly, he was like, okay. He goes, because he'll call the customer, he'll be like, did you call in earlier and talk to one of my employees about the crust and the butter? And he goes, yes, I did. And she said that, you both don't typically do that. And now the lie would be found out. And now he would look at me and say, I can't have liars in my home, in my house. You're going to have to leave. So this was a test. And I had to pass. And as hard as it was to stand there in the line of questioning, and I had the urge, like it was right there, like just say no, just say no, just say it was something else. I was like, no, because that's not what God would want me to do. God will want me to be honest, because if I'm honest, then God will protect me. He will ensure that I don't get in trouble, because I am following His plan for my life. I am doing His will. And in this way, I also showed my spouse that I'm not going to crack under pressure. I could have easily blamed him and been like, well, he told me to do it, so I told the customer we would do it. No, I'm not sharing the blame. I'm not pointing the finger elsewhere. The responsibility lies with me, and I'm taking that responsibility. So that was yesterday. And then Jesus, the manager who had been sending me home early, who had been dealing with me in his own way, made a pizza. And he goes, "Hey Diana, do you want some?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Okay." And I said, "Can I have 2 slices?" He's like, "Yeah." And he did this in front of another employee, an employee who she likes to serve herself whatever she is hungry for. If she wants wings, she'll make wings. If she wants a salad, she'll make salad. If she wants a pizza, she doesn't typically eat pizza, but if she wants a salad, she'll eat a salad. If she wants chicken on the salad, she'll have chicken on the salad. She'll make it however she wants, and no one will say anything. And yesterday, God had me watching her. He goes, "Who does she remind you of?" I'm like, "Why is she acting like me?" I'm like, I can take out 3 and 4 orders at a time and have them delivered at the right tables. She was walking around and she was like, I'm so lost. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Then why are you taking so many pizzas from so many different tables? I can do it because I can remember the numbers. 52, and I do things in a certain rotation so that I'll remember which one is which. Because that's the biggest mistake you can make, is delivering the wrong food to the wrong table, and then you have to make both orders again. And that is something Will doesn't like. And Will was noticing that she was struggling, and he's like, then she took an order outside of our delivery area. And God reminded me of the day before yesterday. He goes, "What did you tell Emily when she came to you and said, 'Hey, do we deliver this to this address? It looks like it's in our area, but I don't think it is.'" But she goes, "But I'm not sure." And I looked at it and I said, "Actually, no, because look, here's 65th Street, 64th is somewhere around here, and that one's just a little bit past the line." I said, "But I would check with Will to see if that's something that, what he thinks." And Will heard me, and he came over to the window and he's like, "What?" And I was telling him the address, and I realized he wanted me to stop talking so that she could ask him. And so finally he told her, "I can't hear you. You need to get closer." This gave me the signal of, I'm not talking to you. I know you know what you're doing. I'm like, okay. And no, this was not the same day of the butter. It was 2 different days. So he looked at the address and he goes, "You know what? Yeah, it's just outside of our delivery area, but we'll take care of this customer. We're not very busy right now." And I said, "And that is why you leave it up to leadership to determine whether or not we're able to deliver, because sometimes they will make the decision that it's a yes." Now, earlier in the day, yesterday, before this woman came on shift, I was talking to 2 other young men who I work with. One of them is a counter like me, but he was mainly a cook, but because of the number of people that we had working for us at the time, he couldn't be in the kitchen cooking, so he ended up becoming a counter in order to be able to continue working for us. And because we were shorthanded counters at the time. And so he's been of the idea that to save money, we're not going to do this, we're not going to do that. And I was telling him how difficult he makes our jobs, because he determines when and how he's going to make the preparations for the day. And I said, "You don't have the knowledge to be able to make those determinations on your own." I said, "You need to seek the counsel of the leadership team, because they are aware of the way that the shifts work. They can tell you, oh, only make this many, only make that many." I said, "When you start out with 0, you're already behind the 8 ball. Because now you have to make the ones you didn't have. And now you have a line." And I said, "And I don't like it when I get left in the lurch." And I said, "Because you went on break and you didn't have to face the customers. I did. And that's not okay." And then Will, who was sitting there listening to us, and he's like intrigued by the conversation and the way that I was talking to this boy. He's a young man, he's an adult, but he's so immature in his ways that he was listening, and he goes, you guys could always use the callback for salads. And I said, oh, I do, with Abby, when Abby's here, and she's my sides person. I'll ask her to make me, 5 or 6 salads. And Mark, who also works sides, he goes, you've never done that with me. And I said, because you and I got into an argument over a pizza. I said, you told me you weren't making the pizza because you had already made it. And I said, no, you didn't. This is a new order. You need to make this pizza. And you argued with me that it wasn't. And I said, and you went as far as going to Will and asking him to look it up to prove to me that I was wrong. And I said, and what he proved was that I was right, that this was a new order that you needed to make. I said, that's why I don't ask you to do anything for me. And Will was like, what? And so he goes, I do not remember any such thing. And I'm like, well, you're an impartial judge. You're not supposed to get involved. And he's like, oh. And he's like, she doesn't back down from anyone. No, I don't. I don't back down. I stand my ground. Why? Because I know what I'm doing. I have experience. I have wisdom. I have knowledge. And I can impart that knowledge and that wisdom on the people around me. But first they have to be willing to listen and accept the feedback. And Will realized something yesterday, that I'm not just going through my day going, oh yeah, I'm going to make some boxes just to keep myself busy. There's a method to everything I do. I set myself up for success. The first thing I do is I take all of the dishes to the back because I need a clean bus card. I take everything. The silverware I wash myself because I want to make sure that I have clean silverware ready to go when I'm running low. And the dishes, I set them up so that in a moment of slow period, I can jump on them and take care of those dishes. So yesterday, God had me realize that Kimberly is trying to be me, trying to mimic me, trying to show that she is better than me, that she is a higher quality of employee than me. And all she ended up proving was that she can't handle the work. She can't handle being as busy as I can. I worked 16 days straight, and not one day did it look like I was failing. Every day I came in smiling, I came in doing my job, I came in doing the right thing for the right reasons at the right time. And I didn't have any mess-ups. And that's when Will starts to go, okay. And I'm asking him permission. I said, Will, you need to put me in the kitchen. You need to put me in the kitchen. When are you going to put me in the kitchen next? Because God is moving me within that store to ensure that that store is ready for the flood that's coming. He's been showing me the storm. This is the calm before the storm. You have to be ready. And that's what I told Will. This is the calm before the storm. We have to be ready. We have to be functioning at 100%. If we are not ready, we are going to fail. And we're going to miss out on all the blessings that are coming. And yes, I do talk to them like this, with these kinds of words. I am no longer sugarcoating my words and taking out God like I was in the beginning because I was hidden. God said, nope, not yet. Nope, not yet. But Father, why am I not using you? Like, I don't want to take the credit. I don't want to. It's like, it's not time yet. It's not time yet. It's not time yet. And now all of a sudden he's allowing me to speak prophetically, not just into my spouse, but into the store that I work in, into the people that I work with. And he's showing me who is going to be leaving shortly. He's already told me there were two drivers that needed to leave, and they're gone. One's name was David. He was trying to be the big D, and I told him, no, there's only one D in this house, and that's me. You cannot be called D. I will not call you D. You see, D stands for the number 4, the number chosen. I am chosen by God to be in this restaurant because my husband needs to elevate. He needs to take the lead. And I thought that the person that was in the wrong spot was Jesus. But it turns out the wrong spot is Cody. God started to highlight Cody's behavior lately. He's like, he charged you for your food, and yet you work your butt off for him. You're always doing whatever he asks for. You jump through hurdles. If anything, you should have been exempt. And I was putting it in his heart that you should be exempt, that he should be able to talk to Will and say, you know, Diana does a lot for us. I didn't have the heart to charge her for the spaghetti. I'm sorry, you know, I'll pay for it if I have to. But the smirk on his face when I asked him for the spaghetti, it didn't sit well in my spirit. I'm like, Father, why doesn't it sit well? Why doesn't it feel right? I don't understand. Why is it bothering me? And I kept holding on to it because God wouldn't let me let it go. I'm like, I don't understand. Why is it bothering me? Why? I understand the reason why they're charging us. I understand the reason why their inventory is out of control. They're just not. They're not being good stewards of the inventory for the store. And God said, go to the store. Go to Circle K and get a soda. And I'm like, but their soda station is broken. I should go to that store. I'm like, okay. And as I'm walking to the store, it is hot. And I'm starting to sweat. And I'm just not happy. And so God was having me think about everything that happened between my spouse and I, the interaction. There is movement. And there is change. And yeah. Anyway, so he had me analyze the behavior and the way that Jesus was behaving, and this girl, you know, and how she was trying to be like me, and I'm just like, all of a sudden, Cody popped in, and I'm like, huh? Why? And then God's like, why is he so focused on the numbers? I'm like,